Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are taking on, well, honestly, one of the most ruthless challenges in the entire world of curation and design. We're talking about building the definitive sub-$1,000 triple watch collection. Now, if you're a fan of strict frameworks, minimalist philosophy, and absolutely maximizing the value of every single dollar, you are literally in the exact right place. Because today, we aren't just talking about buying things. No, we're talking about the sheer psychological discipline it takes to curate the ultimate lean lineup. So, let's break down exactly what it takes to master this framework.
Okay, let's dive into this. What makes a collection truly definitive? I mean, that is an incredibly bold claim, right? In a hobby that's just flooded with endless variables, historic brands, and infinite combinations, calling something definitive implies that one specific curation stands head and shoulders above all the rest. It's not just some random assortment of things you happen to like and threw into a box. It's meant to be the absolute standard against which everything else is judged. It is the ultimate expression of taste and restraint.
To actually achieve that crazy standard of perfection, we have to rely on 4 strict structural pillars. The ambition here is massive, right? We want to be definitive, and we want to curate the best. But to get there, we're locking ourselves into 2 unyielding constraints, a sub-$1,000 limit and exactly a 3-watch collection. This isn't just some loose methodology. It is essentially a structural formula for extreme, highly disciplined curation. You're intentionally tying your own hands here just to force a much higher level of creativity and critical thinking.
Let's zoom in on that first major boundary, the financial constraint. Because look, when you have an endless black card, collecting is, frankly, pretty easy. You don't really have to choose, you just buy the entire catalog. It's remarkably easy to accidentally become a hoarder when money is absolutely no object. But imposing a strict monetary limit, that forces you to make calculated, sometimes agonizing choices. You have to strip away all the brand hype and ruthlessly evaluate true craftsmanship, heritage, and utility. Setting this financial boundary really is the foundational step to authentic curation.
$1,000. That is our absolute maximum budget ceiling. And this number isn't just pulled out of thin air either. It acts as a highly competitive threshold in the watch world. To build a definitive collection right here, you can't just stroll into a high-end luxury boutique and point at a glass case. No way. You have to hunt for hidden value, dig deep into the secondary market, and intimately understand the mechanics of what you're actually acquiring. Every single dollar has to completely justify its existence in your watch box.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the specific prefix used, sub-$1,000. The goal isn't to spend exactly $1,000 just because, you have it burning a hole in your pocket. The goal is to maximize true value beneath this strict ceiling. Honestly, coming in under the wire, that's a flex. It turns collecting from a superficial spending contest into an exercise in pure efficiency and sharp decision-making. You are literally winning the game of optimization.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because money is really only half the equation in this framework. We've successfully capped the budget, sure, but now we face an even more ruthless physical limitation, which is the actual space available. You can't just buy $20, $50 watches and call it a day, right? The number of slots in this definitive collection is strictly limited, which completely shifts the entire psychology of how you approach your next acquisition.
We are locked into a triple watch collection, just 3. If you're a passionate collector, think about how conceptually agonizing that actually is. You cannot afford a single redundancy. Each piece must serve a wildly distinct purpose. Maybe you've got a daily driver, a dedicated dress piece, and a rugged tool watch, all while seamlessly working together as a perfectly cohesive trio. There's zero room for filler and absolutely no room for impulse buys. It demands extreme, thoughtful focus where every single choice carries massive, disproportionate weight.
Without these rules, a collection often devolves into this unfocused, expensive problem. You know the drill. It becomes a chaotic accumulation of clutter that just sits in a drawer gathering dust. But by combining a strict budget cap with a ruthless physical limit, you completely transform hoarding into a razor-sharp, highly intentional strategy. It's a fascinating paradox, actually. By restricting your options so severely, you actually eliminate decision fatigue. The limitations are exactly what sets you free to build something incredibly meaningful.
So, the crucial point is that this isn't just a catchy headline, it's a clear, step-by-step procedure for minimalist perfection. Step 1, you lock in that financial constraint strictly under $1,000. Step 2, you restrict the physical quantity to exactly 3 items. And finally, Step 3, operating entirely within that incredibly tight, restricted box, you force yourself to curate nothing but the absolute best. It's basically a gauntlet that tests your true knowledge of the craft.
It all collides into one definitive statement: the best 3-watch collection you can buy for under $1,000.
The budget, the quantity, and the demand for ultimate quality merge right here. And honestly, it proves a profound point that transcends just watches. Achieving the best isn't about having unlimited resources or just mindlessly buying the most obvious luxury items. It's about making the most brilliant, highly informed choices within a highly restrictive framework.
And this leaves us with a highly provocative thought to close on. We've unpacked all the strict mechanics, but the real value here is entirely in the application. How would you apply this strict 3-watch, sub-$1,000 framework? How does imposing severe limitations on your budget and your physical space force you to define what truly matters to your personal style and your daily life? I really encourage you to embrace the constraints, apply this minimalist philosophy, and start curating your own definitive collections. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.